What's up, Auburn fans, and how are we doing on this Saturday afternoon? I'm your host, Blake Lane, and this is Auburn at the Voice of College Football. But today we're talking Auburn basketball. The 2026 SEC opponents have been released, and Bruce Pearl has made a massive hire in the college basketball world. So we got to get in here and talk about it. But first, as you see down there on the bottom line, please like, share, and subscribe to Auburn at the Voice of College Football. And even click the bell for notifications so you will get notified on Saturday episodes like this one right here. So without further ado, let's get in here and talk about these 2026 SEC opponents. I got this graphic straight off of Auburn men's basketball Twitter. Appreciate them. And as you can see right there, Tahad Pettiford right smack dab in the middle of it. And let's start there because I never really got to touch up on Tahad returning to Auburn. And I just want to say that Tahad Pettiford not going to the NBA draft immediately makes Auburn preseason national title contenders, in my opinion. And I also think the media feels the same way. We know what Bruce Pearl has done in the portal, and I think Tahad coming back to lead this team just sparks that athleticism even more, right? This is going to be a freaky athletic Auburn team. And I think this Auburn team is going to look to run and gun. They're going to look to put up a lot of points. They're going to look to get downhill to the basket while also being able to shoot the three ball. So I think him coming back it would have been a gut-wrenching blow if he wouldn't have come back, right? If he would have went to the NBA draft, Auburn would have felt gutted because then you would have had to pivot to a backup plan at guard, right? And you wanted Tahad to return for 2026, but I do think this is it for him. I think this is his last year. So let's look at this. The orange tiles are away games. The white tiles are home games. So let's start there right at the top with the away. You see the Alabama Crimson Tide, and you see the Arkansas Razorbacks in those first two slots. Those are both home and away, so they're 1-1s. We know Coleman. We know it is what it is. Yes, you went in there and got a victory last year. I'm not really worried about that environment. It's just the rivalry, and it's always just an absolute crazy environment, the Iron Bowl of basketball. But I'm not really worried about the crowd there. I don't ever get worried about going there. Now, Bud Walton, that's a different story. Bud Walton is electrifying. It seats, 20,000 people. We know Coach Cal is in year 2 with that program. We know they got hot at the end of last season. Hell, they should have made the Elite Eight if we're being honest. But that program is trending upwards. And towards the middle of the season last year, everybody was like, oh, Cal's cooked. He's done. Maybe they made the wrong hire. Why did Musselman go to USC? All this stuff. Like, there was a lot of questions around that program. But now they're trending upward because they got into the NCAA tournament. And I told you they would. I tweeted out at the end of the SEC schedule last year, I said nobody wants to play Arkansas right now. Nobody. And they come into Neville and gave Auburn a game. I said nobody wants to play them. They're going to take down a massive seed in the NCAA tournament. And they got into the NCAA tournament and they took down St. John's, a 2 seed. So that program is going in the right way. So you get one on the road, one at home. I'm okay with that. If you split both of those, that's fine. When you look at a home and away in the SEC and how good this conference is, I'm okay with splitting if you get a home and away. I really am. Now, you look right there at Mississippi State, going to the Hump, another crazy environment, a raucous crowd. We've had trouble there at times. It's a difficult place to play, and Jans has that team rolling. Like, ever since he's been there, they've made the NCAA tournament. So, once again, you expect Mississippi State to be a really, really good squad and a tournament team. And so that's going to be a difficult place to play. You look right underneath that, Missouri. I'm not really worried about that. I think we can win there. I think we should handle Missouri. Yeah, they showed improvement last year. They got in the tournament and had a stinker. That's okay. I still think we should win there. You look at Florida there. That's going to be a difficult one. Todd Golden and the defending national champions are rolling, and they're bringing in elite-level talent. He killed the portal once again, and just a tremendous coach right there. And unfortunately, I was at that Final Four game, and that was brutal to watch, man. It really was. It was brutal. I don't want to say Auburn choked it away. I just want to say Walter Clayton made shot after shot after shot, and he won it for him. And you kind of hope that's what Tahad Pettiford can be this year, a Walter Clayton who can take over. And he's had the experience in the big time moments, right? He's had the experience on the Final Four stage. So go be that guy now. And going to Florida, that's going to be really difficult. We know the history of going down there isn't great in Auburn's favor, right? So, hopefully you can turn it around. And you look right underneath there, you have the Georgia Bulldogs. We don't get them at home, right? We don't get them at home. And we know the rivalry, but that's another place we just don't play well at, right? It's just a place I feel like we're kind of cursed going there, man. It's really difficult. They always bring it for Auburn. That's going to be a tough matchup. You look right next to that with Oklahoma. I feel like that's one that we should win. We should dominate. So I'm not really worried about Missouri and Oklahoma. But you look right underneath that, you got to go to Knoxville. That's a really difficult place to play. And once again, a crazy environment, great coach. Rick Barnes is fantastic. And I think that's what's so special about the Southeastern Conference now is I think it's the coaching and how great each school has got it. And they've taken basketball seriously. And they've went out and hired elite coaches to become the best basketball conference in America. And that's what I love about the SEC. I don't want to get too far off the topic here. But with the College World Series going on right now, I've heard all of these people like the SEC bias needs to be studied. The SEC just thinks they're so much better than everybody, right? The SEC is just big, bad, honcho, stick their chest out, whatever. The thing is the proof is in the pudding, and this is a conference that just continues to win national championships. They're playing for national championships. They're in the heat of every big time competition, right? And you can't take that from the football side of things. Now you can't take it from the basketball side of things, and you damn sure can't take it from the baseball side of things. And hell, you can even now talk about softball. So the proof's in the pudding of when this conference wants to take something serious, they're going to do it. And they're going to go out and hire elite coaches. And they're going to become the best. So take your SEC hate and take it somewhere else, man. It's diabolical to me. But you look over there at that last one, Ole Miss, and another one, Chris Beard. What he has brought to that program is electrifying. A great coach. That's a very difficult place to play. We found that out last year. Janai had to pull some freaky stuff. Got shot at the end of the half, and he turns around and calls God. Wow. What a great performance by him all year, but especially in that one in Oxford, Mississippi. So let's go over here and let's pivot to the home matchups. We talked about Alabama and Arkansas at the top, the home and away. You look down there at the bottom, you get a home and away with Ole Miss as well. But now, let's go back up to the top with South Carolina. You get South Carolina, you got to feel like that's a gimme win, right? I know each season is different and everything, but you got to beat South Carolina. Come on. Look underneath at Texas. I feel like that's another one that you got to win. They're dealing with new coach, changes in the program, all that good stuff. Got to win that one. You flip over there to Kentucky. You don't have to go to Rupp. I know we demolished them in Rupp last year, but the history isn't great for the Auburn Tigers in Rupp Arena. So I always love bringing Kentucky to the crib. Mark Pope traveling to Neville Arena. That's going to be a crazy environment, as it always is, right? And then you look underneath there with LSU. I feel like that's another one you got to win. LSU basketball is just in a treacherous place right now. And then to the right, Texas A&M. New coach, Buzz Williams leaves for Maryland. You don't want to go out there to the 12th man. They got us last year, and that was the game where everybody panicked. They're like, oh, my God, Auburn's falling apart. Get out of town. And then you look right underneath Vanderbilt. We've had our troubles in the recent history with Vanderbilt, but you get them right here at Neville Arena. So I feel like this conference, these conference opponents, I feel like they even out a little bit, in my opinion. All right. And I feel like you got some real layups at home. And we know how traditionally Auburn is great at home under Bruce Pearl. And I feel like you just got some simple just finger rolls at the bucket type games at home. You should beat Ole Miss at home. You should beat Vanderbilt. You should beat LSU. You should beat Texas A&M. You should beat Kentucky at home. You should beat Texas at home. You should beat South Carolina at home. Alabama, Arkansas, and yeah, I said you should beat Kentucky at home. But those three right there, those three games at home are going to be the iffies. All right? Those are going to be the iffy ones, in my opinion. I think you should beat Kentucky, and I think you should beat Arkansas. Alabama, throw it up. It's a 50-50 flip. You don't ever know. Away, Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Florida, Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee. Those are all ridiculous places to play. Extremely difficult places to play. So I look at that, and you play 18 conference games. So you got 9 of them on the road right there. If you could go 5-4, 5-4 on the road, you're golden. You're golden because, like I said, those home games, you got layups over there, man. I feel like you got layups. So even if you just say you lose the Alabama, Arkansas, Kentucky games at home, and just say you went 5-4 on the road, okay, you went 11-7 in conference play. You're going to the NCAA tournament. I don't think we do that. I think we're much better than that. Don't get me wrong. But that's just a simple recipe. Because the Auburn Twitter page was like, oh, we got put through another gauntlet. And I'm like, well, you play a gauntlet every year. So, I think 13-5, looking at this schedule, or looking at the opponents, because the schedule isn't technically out, but looking at the opponents, 13-5, I do want to see more of where they're arranged on the schedule, and that matters a lot. When you play Alabama away, and then let's say you play Alabama away on a Wednesday night, and then you come back home Saturday and you're playing Kentucky. Like, let's see how the schedule pans out. But let's get over here on topic 2, and let's talk about Bruce Pearl hiring a general manager for this basketball program. And I think college sports is trending this way. And I think it is a good thing for college sports to get ahead of the curve. And Auburn doing this in a timely fashion and going ahead and locking their guy in, I think that's big time for Bruce Pearl. And I think it takes a little bit of pressure off of Bruce Pearl. There were some comments made last year when the Auburn Tigers were going through the NCAA tournament, and they were saying, hey, look, this is different than the first time we were on our run to the Final Four. This trip is different because now we're having to deal with NIL, and we're having to deal with the transfer portal. And in 2019, we weren't having to deal with that stuff. We were just going and playing. But now we're having to recruit kids while we're in the tournament. Like, we're having to set visits up and all this stuff while we're in the tournament. We're having to reach out to kids that are in the portal while we're in the tournament. And so now Matt Gatens, who is from Iowa, an assistant coach there, he comes to Bruce Pearl's staff, which he's been here before. So it's not like he's out of the blue or whatever. There's familiarity with there. And Bruce Pearl has known him basically his whole life, he said. So what his job is going to be is for things like that. You're going to be talking to agents and NIL side of things and roster management all this stuff of when Auburn is on these runs and you're not going to have Stephen Pearl over here stressing out. You're going to have Matt Gatens over here saying, hey, don't worry about it. Y'all coach. I got this. It's an off-the-court job. He's still going to do basketball things, I'm sure. He's still going to be at practice, and he's still going to be doing all that good stuff because he's got knowledge of the game. He was an assistant coach at Iowa. That's been a really good program. And so it's not like he's just going to walk away from the basketball side of things, right? I think this is just more of taking some stress off of Bruce Pearl and maybe him not having to worry about certain things while you've got a big-time matchup coming up next year. And I think it's a good thing for Auburn. I think it's a good thing. And, if you can come in and lock these guys down in the portal and get contracts negotiated and all of that stuff, I think it's great, man. And congrats to Matt Gatens. He's been at Auburn before on Bruce Pearl's staff. I think that's great. And I think BP is really close to him and his family. I think that's great. You're bringing in a guy that really loves the culture and the winning tradition of Auburn basketball. And another thing, let's don't get all of this twisted with, well, this is a guy they're bringing in to step over Stephen Pearl. Y'all stop, all right? Stop. Nobody's stepping over Stephen Pearl. And for the ones of you out there that, well, Auburn needs to do their due diligence and Auburn needs to go out when Bruce Pearl calls it quits and do an interview process and really make the right hire. Y'all stop, all right? Auburn basketball is going to go out and make the right hire. Is it Stephen Pearl? I don't know. Do I think he has earned a chance to be in that conversation? Yes. Do I think he's a big reason why Auburn has success? Yes. Do I think he's one hell of a coach? Yes. Do I think he's the next Auburn men's basketball head coach? Yes. Do I know he will be? I don't know. Do I think Auburn will take the search serious? Yes. But if it was up to me, Stephen Pearl, why would you not hand it to Bruce's son with the way he recruits? Bruce is already letting him take over in games and saying, hey, go coach this half. All right. Go do this. Why wouldn't you just hand it to him? And because if you give it to somebody else, you're causing a ruckus that don't need to be there. Let's be honest. Because then Steven's going to leave and Bruce is going to say, well, you didn't hire my son. And after all the good years we had, what are you doing? So I don't get this twisted with this is stepping over Stephen Pearl. It's not. Stephen Pearl's still the guy, and I still think he's set to be the next Auburn men's head basketball coach. So with that being said, y'all, hey, thank y'all. Like I said, like, share, subscribe to the channel, man. Thank y'all for joining me on this Saturday afternoon. It's always War Damn Eagle. Tuesday night, we'll be back talking Auburn football live, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. War Damn, we're out.